Okay, so I love doing these, and we're going to make this one tonight. You're going to see exactly my tips and tricks. You're going to see everything that I do when I am creating this, so that way when if you decide to purchase one and you get yours, you'll know exactly what to do. And this is what's going to be in your kit. I also have another one in the works, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So this is the chunky wood house right there. Isn't that cute? You had some house blanks already, Diane? That's awesome. Yes, we do sell these also as blanks in case you want to go for it on your own or do whatever you want to them. You're also going to receive this beautiful napkin. I think this napkin is so pretty. Y'all know that I have a I'll call it a happy addiction to napkins. I love napkin art. It's so easy and fun to transform. So you're going to get a full napkin of this, and the reason we give you a full one is because I like to decorate the front and the back, okay? That way wherever you put it, it looks pretty from both sides. And then you'll have a few extra pieces here just in case, you know, sometimes oopsies can happen, or maybe you'll decide to make something else with the other pieces. You're also going to receive this napkin. It says live with zest, and that's what's going to be on this house. I think it's just going to be absolutely gorgeous. And of course you can see the beautiful lemons here. Now also within your kit, you're going to get a little bit of green moss. Can you see that? A little fresh green moss there, and some baker's twine. And I'll show you how we're going to use those things as we get going. Hello everybody. Hello, hello. So happy. Can you do an add-on for the napkin club? That would be great. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Tell me more, Kim Thomas. Tell me more about what you mean from that. Also, I would love it, y'all, as we get started on this today, if you would be kind enough to sprinkle this out to all your family and friends. There might be someone else crafty out there in your life that might want to see this. So I'm going to reward you for that tonight. How does that sound? I like to reward you. If you help me by sprinkling out the video, well then I want to give back in return. So one lucky sprinkler tonight, one lucky person that sprinkles this out tonight. I have a fun little app that goes in and it generates everybody that goes in and sprinkles, and then I verify that they did. Somebody's going to go home with a lemon house kit. I say you're going to go home with it. I'll ship it to your home. So we're going to give away a lemon house kit tonight, a DIY decor kit, to one lucky sprinkler. So sprinkle away. Thank you, thank you. I see you're already doing that. Some of you already did before I even said to or asked to. So I do appreciate that. The only thing that's not going to be in your kit, girls, is going to be anything wet, basically. And I'm going to be using white paint for this today, okay? I'm going to be using Simplicity from Country Chic paint. Now, that's the paint that I carry in my studio. I absolutely love it because it's chalk and mineral based, and it just works so beautifully and so well. And you can paint it on anything, and you can distress it, and you can just do all the fun things to it. So the very first thing I'm going to do tonight, okay, with my chunky house kit here, how we get to start our little free workshop here, is I'm going to paint it out, okay? So it is just raw. They have been custom cut for you, so you might have to sand just a little bit of the edges, but the majority of it should be just right ready, good to go. And I'm going to start painting it. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate you guys sprinkling it. Good luck to you. I'm excited for whoever's going to win the kit. So all I'm going to do to start on this adorable little project, this little DIY decor project, is to paint. You'll see that the coverage with these paints is amazing. I'll only have to do one coat. I love that. So I'm just going to quickly paint this guy out. And then we can get to the fun part of decorating it. So I'm curious, how many of you have lemon decor somewhere in your house? I think lemons are like so fun to decorate with, especially in the summer. I love yellow, so that makes me love them. It's just such a happy, positive color. And a lot of people, like I have lemon stuff that I love to have in my kitchen, but also in the summer, I have lemons everywhere. I have some cute lemon things on a tiered tray and a vignette. And I'm going to show you tonight, after we get this done, I'm going to show you a couple different ways that you could actually work with this. And one of them is like really super cute, so I'm excited to show that to you. Okay, so I like to do the sides first. It's just a little bit easier on my hands, and then I'm going to lay it down. Now, I'm on top of just a craft mat, so I don't get paint on my table. And I'm going to go ahead and paint this one side. I decided to go with Simplicity, which is the stark white, because I really, because with napkin art, I really wanted the colors in the napkin to really truly pop and not be altered at all. And so what do I mean by that? Well, napkin art, you were just using the tissue, the very top tissue from the napkin, and so that can be very sheer. So if I have a different color or the raw wood coming behind it, it's going to kind of show through that napkin. So I wanted this napkin to stay nice and pure, the colors to stay nice and pure. Hi everybody, I didn't mention the price, I'm so sorry. Yes, it's $14. It's a $14 kit, and then you can choose, you have shipping options on how, if you want it shipped, or if you want to do if you're local to me and you want to do a store pickup, you can do that as well. So I'm just using my heat tool here to just kind of quickly dry this on this side, so that way I can turn it over. That's the other thing about these paints, the chalk and mineral based paints, they dry really fast, which is great. So yes, it's $14 and plus shipping, and so fun to put together. I love these. They're just so much fun. It's a very popular item that we sell. Like I said, we've already gone through the whole first round and have created more. And we do them in all different themes and seasons, which is super fun. Our last one, if you might remember, was patriotic, and that was the honor house. I think several of you got the honor house, and man, I have loved seeing your pictures. I love it when y'all post your work after you're done. They all turned out so pretty. So let me just quickly dry this side. Yeah, Simplicity is a great white, Cheryl. I agree with you, because it is a pure white, like pure white. So pretty. And you can see the coverage is just so nice. You love napkin art and crafting with napkins? That's awesome. I do too. I've been doing it for a long time, and I've really kind of perfected a lot of best practices, because honestly, you can put napkins on anything, just about anything. But there's best ways, there's best, I call it best practices, best, tips and tricks for different types of surfaces to get the best results. So for today, we're just working with wood, which is super, super fun and super easy. All right, that looks good. So let me cover up my paint here. That's all the paint we're gonna need. Put that to the side. Sometimes I have been known to accidentally take my paint, the brush that had the paint on it, and dip it into my Mod Podge. So I'm switching paint brushes. I just want to be careful. Do you see? I literally switched, like this is a blue handle, this is a dark handle, so I have to switch so I don't get confused. Okay, this is looking very, very good. Let me grab the baby wipe here and clean up my hands. Thank you for the stars. Whoever gave the stars, thank you so much. Okay, I just don't want to transfer any paint onto the napkin because that's what we're going to be working with next. Now there's different ways to put your napkins onto surfaces, and tonight I'm actually going to be doing what I call the traditional method, just the good traditional method, the wet method, sometimes I'll call it. And I'm going to be using just this Mod Podge Matte, okay? Super big fan of Mod Podge Matte when it comes to putting napkins, especially onto wood. Not crazy about the glossy. I don't like the glossy Mod Podge. And y'all, there's a reason for that. I'm just squirting this out right onto my craft mat just to get a little bit of, a little pile here going. The reason I don't like the glossy is because it always, to me, stays tacky. Like even when it's dry, it still stays kind of tacky or sticky when you touch it. And I don't want to set my projects on something and have to kind of peel them off, right? I don't like that at all. Even months after a project has been finished, it just has a tendency to stay really sticky feeling. And I just don't like that at all. So I really like the Mod Podge Matte. You get a nice kind of satin smooth finish and none of that stickiness. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open up my napkin now. Oh, I forgot I was going to tell y'all why I was running a little bit late. My husband and I went to this place to look at different styles of counters. I live in an older home. We've lived here for, goodness, let's see. I'm trying to think how old my son is. About 23, 24 years. And so all of our kids now are grown. We have our youngest one is in grad school now. Like everybody's kind of starting their families and moving on. And our house hasn't changed much since we moved here. You know what I mean? 20 some odd years ago. And so we're finally in a position now where we can kind of update things and things like that. So we went to look at kitchen counters. My kitchen counters in my kitchen are the same that they were when this house was built. I think this house was actually built in 1985. And so they're just not attractive. And so we went to look at kitchen counters and oh my gosh, like my head is swimming. There's so many options. And so we were just kind of going to look and it just kind of turned into a whole afternoon. It took up our whole afternoon. And guess what? Left and still didn't make a decision. There's just so many choices. So I brought home some samples and things just to kind of look at. So I'd be curious to know from some of you, have you updated your kitchen countertops? And tell me what's your favorite. Like I'd love to know because I'm very torn between like granite or quartz. I don't know for sure if we'll stay here forever and ever. So part of me wants to be careful that we don't invest too much, you know, if we decide to sell later on or something like that. I don't know. We've been here all this time and we've never moved, so I don't know if we will. But man, just so much to look at. I'm leaning towards quartz, Rhonda. I am. But there's some of the granite that, gosh, I just love. So y'all tell me, in the comments, and I know this has nothing to do with our workshop today, but it's on my mind. Like as for wear and tear and all of that, I would love to know, and I'll go back and read your comments later. Kind of which one would you advise me to choose, and tell me why. Like upkeep and like I don't want anything I have to maintain a lot, and I'm kind of hard on my surfaces. I'll be honest, I'm kind of hard on my surfaces, so durability is important. Okay, so I have separated my napkin. I think you just saw me do that. I took off, and this napkin actually had 2 additional plies. It's a 3-ply napkin, okay? Sometimes napkins only have 2 plies, which means the top tissue and 1 other ply. But this one had 3, and it's very important to make sure that you get those plies off, because if you don't, and you go to put your napkin on your surface, what happens is it immediately tries to separate. It starts to separate, it'll bubble up, it'll tear, and it kind of turns into a muckety mess, okay? So I want you to be careful about that. So what I'm going to do, isn't it pretty? Look how pretty it is with that white behind it. Oh, the simplicity behind it, it just looks amazing. So I told you in the just a few minutes ago, I'm going to do the traditional method. So the traditional method for me, the wet method, I'm going to be using a chip brush, just a dry chip brush as my pounce brush, a regular paintbrush. I don't like to use foam brushes. I don't like all the little black foam specks that they can leave. And of course my matte Mod Podge. So for the lemon house, we're going to actually start on the front and the back of the house. Okay, so we're going to start on the front here. I'm going to dip my paintbrush into my Mod Podge, and I'm going to put on what I'm going to call a really healthy coat. Okay, a healthy coat of Mod Podge here. What is a healthy coat? A healthy coat means you can really see, look how wet that is. You really want to make sure you can see it, be very, very wet. Mod Podge can dry really quickly, so if you put it on too thin, it can dry before you really want it to. I got a little goober in this one. Let's take that off. There we go. So nice, healthy, wet coat. Doesn't have to be like drippy, drippy, but just not thin. And then I'm going to very carefully, I'm going to lay my napkin tissue where I want it to be. Now, remember, I'm going to put a saying on this house that live with zest, right? So my lemon tree, I'll call it a lemon tree, my little lemon taupe here, my little lemon tree here, I'm going to not put it right in the center. I'm going to kind of push it over to the left. So I'm bringing it over to the left, and I'm going to bring it to where the pot is right at the edge of the house. Okay, I'll show y'all this just a second. I'm going to very gently kind of press down with my fingers, just kind of tap in place, okay, so it's not going to move. And now I'm going to take my pounce brush, okay, and I'm going to go up and down, all on top of this tissue, because I want to push this tissue into the grain of the wood, okay, really, really push it in there. That looks really good. So this will kind of show you the placement. Do you see right here? I mean, right here, this kind of pot, I have it right on the edge of the wood. And do you see how the lemon tree is kind of moved over? Because I want room right here to put my sentiment or my saying. Okay? Does that make sense? Thank you again. I see more stars. Y'all are awesome. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, I did. Michelle says, I thought you were going to say you purchased patio furniture. How's the update going? I did. We did get our little patio furniture. I actually posted a picture of one of the chairs, and I absolutely love it. I just need the weather to cooperate so I can spend more time out there. We did an update on our back porch patio, covered patio area. And it's beautiful. So most of my time has been spent out there either in the morning or in the evening, because the midday has just been so hot. So hot. So yeah, I have a long list of projects going right now. I have the construction part of that is all done. So now we're down to the decorating, and that's of course the fun part. So I have a couple DIY projects that I've been videoing as I do them. And so make sure that you're following my page, especially if you're into DIY decor, which I guess you're watching right now, so you probably are. I have a clearance find that I found at Hobby Lobby that I'm altering up, and I'm in the process of videoing that, so I'll be posting that probably by tomorrow. I'm almost done with that. So it's been fun. It's fun to get to do some things like this, because I have 5 children. And, you know, when you're raising 5 children, and you're, you know, money's tight and you're trying to get by, you really don't get to do a lot of things to your house. And so it's been really, really fun to kind of get to that stage in my life, in a place where I can do some things that I want, you know, instead of making decisions based on, you know, well, you know, thinking about, you know, I don't know. It's just different when your family's all at home, when you're raising your kids. And, you know, there's stuff in my house right now, y'all, that I look at it and I'm like, you know, I don't even like that. Why is that still in my house? And I think it's just because it's been in my house like all this time. So, sorry, I have yuck on my mouth. And I think we just get kind of set in our ways that, oh, well, you know, when you really start looking at what's around you, you're like, I don't even like that. Why do I still have that? So I've decided that over these next, you know, these next few years, as I'm kind of sad and dealing with, you know, empty nest syndrome and all of those things, I'm going to embrace making my space. How can I say this best? I want to surround myself with things that I like. I want my space to reflect me, right? Like that's what I want. And so that's what we're doing. And of course we're all doing it on, we're doing it on a budget. We're doing it on a, you know, a dime. That's just how we are. And so it's going to be a lot of fun to share kind of everything that's happening. And I plan to do it right here on my page. So I'll continue to share all that with you. I want to show you what I just did here. I dried this and I started sanding it off the edges, but look right here on this edge. Do you see how it's going to wrap around? So I don't want to sand this part off. I'm actually going to take advantage of this to put this part of my napkin right here. Okay, so that is what I'm going to do next. I'm not going to go up the roof of the house. So what I'm going to do is just kind of pull this napkin over and I'm going to just carefully kind of cut this off. Okay, does that make sense? So see, now I'm just going to wrap this. We're going to put Mod Podge here and I'm going to pull it right here to the side. Okay. All right, so let's put some Mod Podge here. I don't want to get to talking so much and forget to tell you what I'm doing here. But I am really excited. I'm excited to make our home, you know, like I said, just to reflect the things that I love, and I want to surround myself with, you know, things and decor and colors and all the stuff that makes me happy. Okay. So I'm going to slide this over. Now I'm not going to take it to the very back, just going to be this one side. And let's pounce that in place. Okay, so you can see just right there in place on this side. Have any of you been in that situation? This is just such a pretty little house. It's going to be so pretty, beautiful, beautiful napkin art. Okay, so now that I've done this, I'm going to sand this off. I'm just using a foam sanding block, y'all, just because it's kind of easy on the hands rather than using a piece of sandpaper. But you could use a piece of sandpaper or even like a little filing tool, like even like an emery board style like that, right? Something very easy. Okay, so now we have this side done and this little edge done. So now I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to do the same exact thing on the back here. So basically just a repeat of what we did, and then we're going to address the rooftop and some other things. Okay, so separating your napkin, you probably saw me do it a while ago, but I'm going to go ahead and draw attention to it now. I do what I call the lick and stick method, okay? So the lick and stick method is this. I literally tap my finger on my tongue and my thumb on my tongue, okay? And then I just kind of tap my fingers together, and what happens is it kind of starts to get kind of sticky, right? It's your own DNA, so it's okay. And then just put it on, just kind of pinch on each side of the napkin, and then look what happens. It just starts to come apart. So there's one layer. This works so well for me. There it goes. If it doesn't work well for you, you could use a little bit of like washi tape or painter's tape, or even just a straight head pin and kind of pick at the corner. Sometimes on a 3-ply napkin, that second layer can be kind of a stinker. Sometimes it can be hard to get off. So just when I get a really stubborn one like that, sometimes I have to get a little pin. And let me show you what I use. Like this. Just like a little pearl head pin like that. And I just kind of pick at the corner a little bit, and then it will separate. Now napkins have that kind of embossed edge right here all along the edges. That is so that it holds all the plies together. So when you're separating a napkin, it's actually easier to separate it on a side that you've cut that does not have that embossing. So keep that in mind also. I'm getting to the end of my Mod Podge, so I'm just going to kind of take some and tap out of the bottle here. There we go. So if you're having trouble separating it and you're trying to separate it where it's embossed, that might be part of the problem. You might want to do it from the cut side. All right, let's get a healthy coat of Mod Podge on this side of our chunky house. I can't wait to read all your comments. I'll go back and read them tonight about the countertops, because I really do need advice. I felt very overwhelmed. I mean, like very overstimulated and very overwhelmed. So it's just like, let's just check out some samples and bring them home, and then we can figure out what we want to do. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to bring that pot all the way down to the very edge of the house. I am bringing the lemon tree over to the left so that I have room for my sentiment. And I'm just barely tapping. You may be tempted to smooth. And don't smooth, because that tissue is very fragile, y'all, when it's wet, and it could easily tear. So that's why this pouncing method is really best, because I'm going up and down, up and down. This is a chip brush, which is a natural bristle brush, so the bristles are more sturdy, okay? So it works really, really well to just push the tissue down into the grain of the wood. Perfect. Okay, so again, just like that. I'm going to dry it. You always want to make sure it's a little dry before you sand the edges. Otherwise, if it's not dry yet, again, it can tear the napkin. It can pull and tear the napkin. So we're going to be really careful about that. You use tape sometimes, Sabina? Yeah, you can use tape. I prefer washi tape over painter's tape, just because washi tape is so forgiving, and it doesn't, sometimes painter's tape can kind of tear the napkin. So you have to be careful about that. Now remember, I'm going to sand off this edge and this edge and up here on the rooftop, but not that one side, because that one side is going to wrap around. Okay, so here we have it. I'm going to take my scissors and just cut right to that little corner where it starts the angle of the roof. Okay, just like that. Really super easy. My Mod Podge on here. And wrap it around. Okay, and again, I'm going to dry it, and then I'm going to sand it, and then we're going to tackle the rooftop. Well, Felicia, I'm glad you remembered. I'm glad you popped on. Yeah, chip brushes are super inexpensive, very inexpensive. You can find them just about everywhere. Home Depot, Lowe's, craft stores. We sell them at the Little Blue House, which is my my studio. Less than $1, like 79 cents for one size, 99 cents for another size. Very, 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 very easy to use. And I never put anything on them. I just pounce with them. And then eventually they start getting a little, you know, kind of yucky. Like this one's about to get to that point where it's getting kind of yucky up here. And what I'll do is I just hold it over my trash can and I'll take my scissors and I just kind of give it a haircut. And I just keep using it until it's just down to the nub. I just use them and use them until, you know, there's nothing left to cut. But they're better than like a regular paintbrush. A regular paintbrush, the bristles are too soft, right? Like you need something that's sturdy and strong so it really gives that pressure, okay? Almost kind of like a stencil brush, you know, has those natural bristles. That's what this is like. Okay, so we have our lemon house. We have this part done, okay? Now we're gonna work on the rooftop up here. Don't you love the kind of tile look here? Speaking of, I just think that looks so pretty. I love the background on this napkin. It's kind of a bluish, almost like a periwinkle, kind of a bluish with a little hint of purple, just a little hint of lavender in it. Very, very pretty. It's so pretty. Does the Dollar Tree have them? You know, I don't know if I've seen chip brushes at the Dollar Tree. I'm not sure. I don't think so. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've seen them at my Dollar Tree. I don't think I have. Okay, girls, we're gonna work on the roof right quick. Okay, somebody else answer that because let her know. I don't think I've seen them at my Dollar Tree. But y'all, if you've seen them, let her know that. So look here, do you see how this tile, it's actually like the perfect width of the roof of the house. Now, how convenient was that? I was super excited to see that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take on one of these extra napkins, the extra quadrants of the napkin, and I'm gonna cut right up the tile part here. Let me see, I can't remember if one covers it. Okay, so I'm gonna cut, oops. I'm basically cutting kind of a row of the tiles there. Isn't that pretty? So, so pretty. So this is going to go here on the top, on the rooftop of the house. All right. Now you can see it's a little wider than it really needs to be. So I'm going to cut it just a little closer to the edge of these tiles right here. And you can always come in and sand them off, which is fine. All right, so I'm gonna do my lick and stick method here. Don't forget to sprinkle away. One lucky sprinkler is going to win this kit. And I'm gonna ship it to them and I'll announce the winner tomorrow night. Let's even say a time. I'm much better if I pick a time because then it helps me stay on task. So I'm gonna say 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Okay, 7 o'clock Central tomorrow night, I'll post the winner of the Lemon House. That'll give you plenty of time to sprinkle. Okay, so I have my my plies taken off. And I'm going to start putting Mod Podge here on the rooftop. Thank you so much for hanging out with me to watch me make the Lemon House DIY decor kit, but also just for hanging out and chatting with me. I love that. Okay. So let me make sure I'm on the right side. All right, so what I'm going to do basically is I'm just going to kind of position it to where, there, that's perfect. Just kind of right in the center. It's okay if you have a little bit of the corners showing. That's fine. It just kind of borders out the napkin here, this tile this beautiful tissue that looks like tile. And again, I'm going to just really pounce in here. So you are going to get texture with napkin projects. You just are. I mean, nothing's going to be super completely smooth. What you don't want is air bubbles, and even wrinkles are okay, but as long as you're pouncing them out to where they're flat. It's okay to have the texture in there. I love texture, and the texture makes the projects look more unique, I think. It gives them kind of some charm and handmade character. It just looks really pretty. But you don't want to have like an air bubble. You definitely want to make sure that you're really pushing that tissue into the grain of the wood. So let's sand off these little edges here. So now we have our lemon house covered, and we're going to work on the sentiment. And then also, I want to show you this. Do you see how our lemon tree is kind of over here to the side? When I was doing the sample that we've already photographed and taken pictures of, I actually added some lemons here. I kind of didn't like how it just stopped right there. So I thought it was kind of fun. This one that I took the extra tile from, I just went into this napkin. Let me just kind of grab a portion of it and just kind of cut a portion, right? And now I'm going to come in and kind of do what I'm going to call a loose fussy cut, okay? For those of you that are in my napkin club, you already know all of these terms because we use them in the workshops. I go live in the napkin club every week with different techniques, different workshops. And so a lot of this terminology you're familiar with, but somebody else might not have a clue what I'm talking about. So let me show you what a loose fussy cut is. Okay? This is a loose fussy cut. Do you see I'm not going into all of the detail. I'm just kind of bubbling around it. Okay? Just kind of bubbling around it. And I prefer to do my fussy cutting when all the plies are together. It stabilizes the napkin a little bit more. It makes it easier than trying to cut just that one tissue. That can be kind of challenging sometimes. So let's separate this. There's one ply. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the Napkin Club and you want to learn more, let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to post you a link because we have the best time in the Napkin Club, and you get a bundle of napkins every month shipped to your door that I have shopped and hand curated, different themes, different things. And like right now we're altering a train case, a travel case in the Napkin Club. It's just so much fun. So now I have this little tissue. So watch here what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of put this right here. Do you see? So it's going to look like it's kind of, let me see which way I want to do it. I might actually want to do it. I have to look at it. It's hard for me to show you. Yeah, I kind of like it right there. That's perfect. Okay, let me go ahead and put this on and then I'll show you, because it's a visual thing for me. I just want to see this lemon tree is so pretty. I want to see more of it. I don't want to see it just kind of cut, like just stopped at the hard edge. So I'm going to kind of position this in a way right where it looks like, do you see? Like it's going to look like, okay, it's coming over and around the edge here. So let's dry that just a little bit. And I think the reason I like it is because it already started kind of coming across the edge there. So it was kind of fun to just have that continue. And I have the extra napkin So I have the extra, I keep saying napkin, I have the extra piece of the napkin. So it just seems to me to look better. Let me just kind of sand this side. I need a little more Mod Podge right there to kind of continue it, right? So now when somebody's looking at it, do you see what I mean? Like it just continues it. It just kind of wraps it around. And I'm going to do the same thing now on this side, right? Right here. So I'm just going to cut again from this, and it doesn't have to be, you know, the same pieces. You can just cut whatever you want, little or a lot. So again, I'm just kind of cutting out a little cluster that includes a lemon. And then I'm going to do that loose fussy cut. It's just a visual thing for me. I just think it looks pretty kind of wrapping around rather than just being cut off. Okay, so let's see how this one, maybe this one will bring up a little higher. Let's do this one just the opposite. Okay, so I'm going to bring, instead of bringing the lemon down low, I'm going to bring the lemon up high. And of course this is optional. This is just if you want to add it or not. It just, to me, it just really looked nice. Okay, so let's add this one kind of coming this way. I gotta get a little more Mod Podge. And I'm going to have it wrap right around the edge there. And a little bit coming down the side here. Perfect. See, isn't that pretty? I just think that looks so pretty. And you could do this as much or as little as you want. Just gorgeous. Make sure this is all nice and dry. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on our sentiment. Now, remember you have a whole nother napkin in your kit. So if you didn't want to use some of that lemon tree, you actually could have come in and taken some of these, this edge, I'm sorry, it's upside down. You could have taken some of these lemons to use around it. Because I'm really just using this part. I'm just using the sentiment. So if you prefer to leave that other lemon tree intact, maybe for another project, you could come and take from some of these if you want to. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. And I'm going to kind of cut in. And I'm going to cut around. Again, I'm just going to kind of hack at it to start, just to get this out of the napkin. Now I'm going to leave the rest of this napkin intact, and I'll tell you why, because I love that this napkin just borders with lemons on the edges. That could be so pretty around like a chunky canvas or you know, another type of surface, a tag, a card that maybe you want to put a sentiment, a different sentiment into. So I like to keep those pieces. The other thing I love to do with napkins is I really love to collage them. So these pretty lemon edges might get used, you know, on another project as a collaged piece. Okay, so I'm just kind of taking these right out of the middle. Okay, and I'm doing two, remember, because I want them to look, I want it to look cute on both sides. Now I'm going to, again, this kind of what we're going to call a loose fussy cut. This white is going to really blend in with my napkin, but I don't want to have any like hard edges. So I'm just going to come in. This is best to do with a really nice pair of detail cutting scissors. What I'm using are little snips by Ranger. And I love them. They do really good with detail cutting. I have two pairs actually. I have one and I have like ribbon wrapped around the handle so I know which one is which. But I have one pair I just use with paper, and then I have one that I only use with fabric. But they're great little detail cutting scissors. Okay. So do you see, again, just that kind of loose fussy cut, but rounded edges, no straight hard lines. Let me do this one too really quick. I probably should be looking for watching for questions. Oh, the cinnamon. Am I only the one that is bothered by the white line through the L? Ah, okay. If that bothers you, that's something that you could come back in with just a little bit of pin work and you could fix that. That would be super easy to fix. Remember though, if you're going to do pin work, you don't ever want to do pin work, and some of you may not know what I'm talking about. Pin work is where you just take like a, I love to use my pit pins because they're kind of made for mixed media. While we're doing this, I'm going to go ahead and get my glue gun turned on here. You need to seal your napkin. That's what we're going to talk about actually right after we put these on. It's important to seal your project, seal your anything that has been napkinized, and that's my word for it when you alter anything with a napkin. We've got to seal them because it's still a napkin. It looks gorgeous, like beautiful art, all the things, but it's still, in life, it's still a napkin. And a napkin's purpose in life is to absorb. So it's really important that we seal our projects. And you can do that with a simple light coat of Mod Podge or a spray coat if you prefer to spray it. If it's something going outside, you can spray it with a clear top coat that is made for outdoors. That way it's weatherized, can handle being outside. Okay, so we're going to put the sentiment on next. And anyway, back to pin work. You have to seal your project before you put a pin to it, okay? Because if you go and try to use a pin on it right now, that napkin is going to revert to all it knows. And remember, its purpose in life is to absorb. So it's going to try to absorb that ink, and it's going to look all smeary kind of and just not real, what's the right word I'm looking for? Like, you know what I'm talking about. Like if you were to touch this with ink or a pen, it would just, it would kind of try to absorb it just naturally, because that's just what napkins do. So we want our pen work to look really precise and clear and all of the things. So it's important to seal our projects before we do any kind of pen work. And you have to make sure that you're using pens that are what I call steadfast, which means when they're dry, they're permanent. They won't react with water again, you know, things like that. So you just saw me put some Mod Podge down on my house. Now I'm going to decide exactly where I want my sentiment to go. It is okay for this to overlap a little bit. You can overlap like one of your lemons. You can overlap the pot a little bit. I'll show you how cute. I need a little bit more right here under this T. There we go. And look how beautiful. So it looks like I may have handwritten it on there, but I didn't. It's part of the napkin. And this is something that we talk about a lot in the Napkin Club, is saving these extra tissues, right? Like the plies that we've taken off. because sometimes you may want to put a custom sentiment or something on there. Y'all, you can stamp on these. You can stamp on these, you can hand write on these, and then decoupage them onto your project, and it looks amazing. So there's some really fun techniques that we've done with that in the Napkin Club. Just so much fun. Doesn't that look great? So I'm going to do it on the other side. Let me make sure that this is dry though before I turn it over. The other thing about the top coat, thank y'all for the stars. Every time I look up, there's more stars. Y'all are the sweetest. The other thing about the top coat, it's kind of doing two things for us. One thing, obviously, is sealing it and protecting our project, right? It's protecting our project. But the other thing it's doing is it makes the napkins more transparent. And I love that. So that way, when you are collaging a napkin, like you're basically putting a napkin over another napkin, or maybe multiple pieces of napkin art together, right? It looks so amazing the more transparent that it is. So that also is why it's important to get that top coat on there. Okay, let's get the sentiment here. Live with zest. I think it's perfect. Perfect little sentiment for the Lemon House. And this can go really wherever you want it to go. That part's up to you. If you want to take it high or low. And I'm going to pounce. So pretty. And now we have it on that side too. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, so you can probably guess what the next step is going to be. How do I store my napkins? That's a big question. I have a ton of napkins, and I do sort them because you need to know what you have, especially if you get into the Napkin Club or you do a swap like we just recently did, the Great Napkin Swap of 2021. So I sort them by theme, occasion, season, right? Sometimes even just colors, you know, whether it's brights or whatever. So I kind of have a method of organization. In fact, that would be a great thing to come on live and talk about. We've talked about it some in the Napkin Club. I keep them in clear bags. These clear, they're like an 8x10 kind of a zip bag. It does help to keep them somewhat organized by whatever they are. And then I do have a couple different storage places that I keep them. If it's the season that I'm in, like right now, the season that I'm in, I have these cute little white containers, and I literally have the bags just stacked up inside for the season that I'm in, like, because those are the ones I'm using the most typically for the season that I'm in, because I'm creating decor or scrapbooking with them or making cards or whatever I'm doing with them, right? So that's how I keep those, and then I can just kind of flip through. I label the bags so I know exactly what I'm looking for. But then when they're not, the other ones, when they're not in use, I actually got this amazing piece from Hobby Lobby. I got it on sale. It's a tall kind of cabinet, and has these little metal drawers, and each drawer has a little label thing on it, and each drawer then has napkins in it. And then when seasons change, I just filter them out, and I move what's in my little working basket into that unit, and into those drawers into that unit, and then I bring out, like, you know, the fall ones would come out next or whichever. And that just works really, really well for me. I need to take some pictures. I'll have to do some pictures and kind of give y'all a tour of my space sometime. Would y'all like that? Would you like a tour of my space just so you can kind of see how I have everything arranged? Let me know in the comments if you would love to see a tour. Put that in the comments. I would love to know that. Well, definitely we can arrange that. Now I would have to clean up a little bit because I'm just like you. There's no difference from me and you. We have a tendency to, you know, we know where everything is, right? But to someone else, the space might look messy. I love that quote. It says something like, I'm not messy, I'm creative, right? And then there's another one, something, I don't know. It's like my own creative chaos, but I know where everything is. Actually, I did a big reorg on my room when we first went into shutdown with the pandemic. I did a really big reorg because I have a studio out in my backyard. Have a building out there. And again, when the kids were all home, that was my space. I didn't have a room. So I took over one of the bedrooms this spring, and that's where I'm at now to make an indoor studio space here. Indoor craft room. And sorry, I'm going to hold this. I'm going to try to work and talk at the same time. We'll see how this goes. I'm just putting the top coat on, y'all. Let's set it down here. So I did a major reorg in here, and I let a lot of things go, and it was hard, but I'm so glad that I did it, because we just have to do that every once in a while. We kind of get into that hoarder mentality, and it's a good thing, because I promise you, you can be more creative with less than you can be with more. And here's what I mean by that. I felt suffocated by all my stuff. I just felt suffocated, and I want to go into my space and be like, you know, I'm in my happy place. I don't want to feel stressed out when I go in my space. And that's how I was feeling. I was feeling very stressed, stuff everywhere. It was hard to find things. In fact, I made a 0 tolerance when I did that major reorg on like bags and stuff. Like, I had bags everywhere and tubs everywhere, and I was like, no, I'm going to have a home for everything, and I'm going to dedicate a certain amount of space for certain things. And then when that space is full, you know, I'm going to make choices on what I want to keep. What am I really using? What have I not touched in years? All that stuff. So I did a major reorg, and y'all, man, I could not be happier. I'm so happy that I did it. And now, you know, I come into my space and I'm like, I just feel so good. So even though it does get messy, we all get messy when we create. That's just what we do, because we're visual. Usually creative people are very visual. So we have to have lots of things out, right? To decide what all we're going to use, things like that. But the great thing is that when I do clean up, I have a home for everything. I have a place for everything to go back to. And so it's been very nice. So now the building that's in the backyard, it's going to eventually kind of receive the same kind of treatment. I'm going to really work on that area out there for my, I'm very passionate about old things. I love to give old things new life and repurpose and all of that. So my indoor studio in here is for my things like, you know, my crafting, my smaller DIY projects, all of my fabric. I have a fabric fan club. I love fabric. I'm a maker at heart, so I have all the things. I love paper. I'm a paper crafter. I do all of the things. So that stuff is staying in here. And then my outdoor studio is going to be where the rusty, dusty stuff happens. Like the stuff where I really need like the power sander or the power tools, things like that. So it's going to become more of an outdoor workshop eventually. Right now, it's housing a bunch of my older projects, and it needs some love. But that will definitely not happen until it gets cooler, probably in the late fall. Okay, I see lots of comments. Y'all would love to see my room. You want to see how I kind of have things organized. For sure, I need to do that. And I would love to share my napkin organization, and I need to, because we did just finish a big napkin swap. We had over 600 participants. It's crazy, crazy, crazy big. And so I know a lot of people have a lot of, or at least the people that participated have a lot of napkins right now, and they're going to need to know how to organize them. And trust me, I have tried lots of different ways, and I finally have found what really works best for me. And I think That's the hard part about things like this, is just because something works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. You have to know how you create, and honestly, even more than that, you have to know how you find things. You have to know how you look for things. When you're decorating, are you always looking for like certain colors of things? Then you might want to organize more by color, right? Or you know what I mean? Like you have to kind of get into your head and think about how you create and how you go and look for things. I'm visual, so if I don't see it, I typically don't use it. So that was another thing with my studio reorg, is I have a lot of visual. I'm decorating my room with my supplies, basically, is how it kind of has turned out. And I love it because at a glance I can see what I have, and then I actually use it. Okay, we're almost done here. I had to make a big decision on this because I was trying to decide if I wanted to do pen work on the lemon tree or not. And I decided not to. Y'all, I just think the artistry on the lemon tree is so beautiful, just like it is. I left it alone. I just think it looks amazing, so beautiful. But I did want to add just another little element. And so in looking at this, I like texture. You already know that about me if you've been following me. I love texture. And so I immediately thought about moss, okay? So in your kit, you're gonna have some clumps of moss. And so I'm using just hot glue for this, really super easy. And I'm kind of drizzling some hot glue and then dragging it. I just want you to kind of drag the hot glue right into the top of this beautiful little planter. And then grab some of your moss. Let the hot glue kind of sit just for a second because you don't want to burn your fingers. And then just put it on top and then just press it down into the hot glue. Except for, I think I left this too long. Let's put it down again. I have my ceiling fan on in here. That's probably why. Okay, here we go. So I'm putting some moss into the top of the planter. And, you know, a little goes a long way with moss. So just kind of pop it in there. After it's kind of stuck, I went in and I kind of drizzled in just a little bit more. If you want to, a good idea would be to use like a popsicle stick so you don't burn your fingers. And just as you drop in the moss, there we go, that's plenty. Look how cute that is. So I'm putting some moss right there on the planter, in the top of the planter, on each side. It just kind of brings it to life. And like I said, a little goes a long way. Like this one is probably, there's going to be more moss in your kit than you really need. It really does go a long way. Put down a couple more little drops in here. Perfect. Isn't that cute? And then just to kind of finish it off, I have some yellow and white baker's twine in your kit. I want you to just fold it in half, take your scissors, and then cut it so it's in 2 equal pieces. And I'm just tying a little tiny bow. Did anybody order the Lemon House tonight? I didn't get my bow in the center. Let's try again. I know several of you had already previously ordered it, and if you did already order it, I'm proud to tell you that your orders are already ready to go, and they're shipping on Monday. They're shipping tomorrow, so they'll be headed to you. And if you order tonight, those orders will also ship tomorrow because we just kitted up a whole nother round. So I'm putting on again some hot glue, and I'm putting this bow right underneath the moss. And I'm going to tie little knots in the tails of the twine. That way it won't unravel. It'll just unravel beneath the knot, which is really cute because then it looks kind of like a little tassel. cute that is. Isn't it pretty? I just think the lemon house is so beautiful. It has a little, it's like charm, like it's full of charm, beautiful color, kind of elegant in some ways, just beautiful. It's just so pretty. Okay, let's get this bow on, and then I'm going to answer any questions. If y'all have any questions about the project or the kit, I hope you had fun watching me create it tonight. Obviously, you can tell I'm kind of in a talkative mood tonight. So let's tie off these tails. Perfect. And there is our lemon house, and it looks beautiful from all sides, right? It looks beautiful from the top. So pretty. So, how many house kits have we done? Felice, I started the series last Halloween, I think. So, and we do them, and you know, we make as many as we can, and then when they're sold out, they're sold out, and we'll continue to make them. And again, just different themes, different seasons, different holidays, all of the things. So I mentioned to you that I wanted to show you a couple cute ways on how you can display these. Obviously, it's cute just like this. It'd be cute sitting on a shelf or on a tiered tray or something like that. I really like it though when projects are elevated. So we have these really cute, let me show you this way. There's the tags on here. Let me take this tag off. We're selling these wooden candlesticks, and there's two different sizes. This size and then a taller size. But y'all, these are so fun for these chunky houses because you can paint them out if you want to. Like I would probably paint this in the simplicity so it's nice and white. And then look how pretty the house looks when it's sitting on top of it, especially if you're using tiered trays, because sometimes tiered trays kind of sink in or they have a little lip. And so your projects need to be elevated a little bit. So I think it looks so cute if you want to situate it on top of a candlestick like this. Really, really cute. Also, I want to show you this. Not long ago, I made a trip over to IKEA with a friend, and I fell in love with these. I like these glass bell jar things, whatever you want to call them. Bell jars, I think is what you call them. So this particular one, I thought, oh my gosh, this could be kind of cute, right? And I forgot to bring some lemons in here, but let me show you first off how the house could actually fit in here, right? Let's see if it fits in here with this, because this is what I'm envisioning. I'm envisioning having this here and then putting some little lemons. Actually, you can get the little artificial lemons like at Hobby Lobby, places like that. You can get a little bag of these smaller lemons. They're so cute. They're probably like this big. They're not like big, like a big lemon like my fist. They're probably like this big. But I thought, how cute would it be to have some lemons down here? Let's see if it's gonna fit. It fit. Oh, it's just a hair too tall. It's just a hair too tall. Well, that's okay. I might have to put like a little block or something in here, or maybe just nothing. But I thought, how cute is it to actually have your chunky house maybe in something like this? I think he needs to be built up just a little bit. I'm looking around my space to see if I have something I can put underneath him. Let's see if this one's shorter. Ooh, this one's shorter. This was an egg cup, y'all, from a little egg cup. So let's try this one, because I do think I like the idea of it being up. Have the lemons down here, maybe a little bit of greenery. That's the perfect size. That's perfect. Isn't that cute? So I thought it was kind of cute maybe to put it on display under the bell jar. I think that's kind of fun too. So there's just so many different ways that you could do and play with these cute little chunky houses. And again, at $14, I think it's a great price for a DIY kit. Also, such a good gift size, right? Just something just really cute you could give a friend. Maybe it's just somebody that needs some encouragement. Maybe just a little birthday gift, or just a gift to say, hey, you know, I'm thinking about you, I love you, or a little housewarming gift even. That would be really cute too. So think about using even just a little dish. It could be a dish without the bell jar, just a little dish. This is from my kitchen. This is out of the cupboard, right from the kitchen. And I could put a couple of those little lemons down here, maybe a little greenery. I just think it would be adorable to kind of play it up like that. Wouldn't that be fun? So much fun. So thank you for watching tonight, and thank you for just having conversation with me and listening to the, you know, everything going on in my life this weekend. We're kind of become weekend warriors. We're doing all these projects at home on the weekend and then work stuff throughout the week. So yeah. Oh yeah, the egg cup could be turned upside down. You're right. It could be turned upside down like that. Oh my gosh, see, that's perfect. That's perfect. This one has an ink splotch on it. Look, she's right. The egg cup is perfect. We do sell the egg cups too. We have a ton of them. Even though, yes, they're egg cups, again, they're just great little risers. Just great little risers. Yeah, such a good suggestion. Thank you for saying that. Thank you, Rhonda, for saying that. That's perfect. So cute. So the little egg cups are great risers. The little candlesticks, like I said, we have this size, and then there's another one that's a little taller like that. Super cute, especially if you have tiered trays. Sometimes you just need little risers for your projects to really set them off. Okay.